Hey folks, it's Maxie here. Welcome to a brand new TEW video. You join us for Forbidden Door. I finally decided after a wee bit of thinking about it that I was going to go Forbidden Door, Fight for the Fallen, and then All In, so quite a big break. The only way I'll maybe put another show in is just in case I decide to do a random Battle of the Belts, but I probably won't do that on YouTube. I'll probably just have that as a special in my save, or if somebody by happens to die in the save and then we do a tribute show. But Forbidden Door is a plan. We've went from AEW and New Japan doing it to now just AEW Forbidden Door the Invasion, because I feel like we've practically got half of New Japan in the roster. We've got who we wanted from CMLL, pretty much who we've wanted from Stardom, and at this point pretty much who I wanted from WWE. In fact, if I'm being honest, there's probably only like 3 or 4 names that I haven't acquired to the company yet that I would be happy getting, and that's obviously, I think Finn Balor, Prince Devitt is a no-brainer, even though probably about 50 when we can get him. I think Rhea Ripley's another one, and getting Takeshita back from WWE since we can afford to do so now. Yeah, because this roster is so stacked that missing him is shite, basically. The show goes far, far too long. It's 445 minutes. It's 23 segments. There's so many matches. So that's pretty much agreeing with my statement that hopefully, if I remember, All In and all the other bigger events, I'm going to try and move to 2 shows. I haven't really done 2 night shows a lot in this, so if I make a mess of it, All In, then hopefully it'll be fine. I know I tried the Battle of Los Angeles before and the save we had before on YouTube, so hopefully I get my head around it when it comes to it. So I'm just going to run through kind of where we've been so far in the save for Forbidden Door. So you can see last year we actually ran it in the Tokyo Dome. Year before that was in Alpha Rush Stadium and Craven Cottage for the first one. Of course, I think Forbidden Door was last year was in. That's right, because we were at the show just before it went to was it the O2? I can't remember. I was at the Dynamite Collision taping just before it. So you can see the progression of the shows over time. Obviously, I started the save in May of 2025, so you can see a wee bit of progression in terms of people getting a bit more popularity, finding out what works with what. But you can see our main event was Kenny defeating Gabe Kidd in a 78. Fast forward that a year, you get Kenny and the Bucks taking on Roman and the Fatu Brothers, which was an 85, which I find was quite interesting because I've never really utilised Jimmy and Jay in this, and their stats don't really work too well, and I still haven't really used them. And then I went All In last year with Kenny versus Bryan, Zack Sabre Jr. and Okada for the AEW World Championship. So last year we crowned the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament winners. Tonight's going to see both semi-finals. We're going to see the finals at the Fight for the Fallen event. I feel like we can move that to there. There is one Survival of the Fittest tournament matchup for the women, which I think is Tiffy Stratz against Natsume Maki, if I believe. But overall, good card. There's some debuts that I had yet to debut in part of the Invasion, and a return from a long-term injury. So I'm going to jump straight in it, because there's obviously spoilers if I went to the match card. So relax, I'll explain all the angles as I go along. It is mostly going to be beatdowns, entrances, etc, etc. Because it was just booked middle of the night, I didn't feel the need to type out what's actually happening. I'll just describe how I see it in my head, and if people like that, good. If not, then sorry. So yeah, let's do it. Forbidden Door, The Invasion 2028 from Miami, Florida at the American Airlines Arena. So we have 16,500 here at the American Airlines Arena. Probably could have went to a big arena, but it is what it is. Just to confirm, no speech before the show, no inspirational stuff. That's hopefully getting held for All In, so I won't be getting any boosted performances. So we start off with this one. I felt it was a good opportunity to have wrestlers from the various rosters taking part against each other in a kind of traditional, what you would have as a Survivor Series match effectively, but here just a 5-on-5 match, just utilising the talent that we've got. And they weren't in major programmes across the rosters. So we start off with a superb matchup, and it was the team of El Clone, Andrade El Idolo, Bronson Steiner, and FTR, defeating the team of Darby Allin, Jay White, Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, and Zack Sabre Jr. in 15:32, and Bronson Steiner pinned Orange Cassidy with a Gorilla Press Power Slam. So overall, pretty decent there. You can see we've got an 84. Darby's getting the steal, and that's where Bronson Steiner really off his game. So the kind of angles I've been booking coming into this one, people on programs. Andrade has a little thing with Pac. He's teaming alongside Garza Jr. and Humberto Carrillo. They're helping him to basically Pac eliminated him in the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament, and he's not happy with that one. We've obviously the feud between Bronson Steiner and Darby Allin that's still going. And one that's been a bit of a shock is El Clone. Really started pushing the character since Azez, or if it's pronounced, was back from injury. He had a year-long out with a shattered knee. So finally was able to debut him as El Clone. And he's had some issues with various luchadors. Then he had an issue with Rey Fenix. And then obviously I got the Penta deal done, so he had an issue with Penta, and he's beat both of them. Yeah, we've been really pushing El Clone. But yeah, overall 85 for the opener. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's a hell of a stacked field, and these are people not in programs. So next up, I decided to have Tekla work a promo here. So the idea of this one was basically Tekla saying, how can you have something against a show like this? All these companies are going to be involved in. People are scared of her from Stardom. There's no one from around the world that wants to mess with Tekla. Initially, I was going to debut Stephanie Vaquer as a heel, but I felt like, no, it's a good opportunity to debut her again as a babyface. So yeah, 81 for this one. She debuts a La Primera gimmick, and we are straight into Tekla versus Stephanie Vaquer. And it was a good matchup. Stephanie wins in 18-19 with the 3:29. 74 wrestling, 72 crowd, 80 for the segment. Tekla does very well considering her stats in this aren't particularly great. Like, she's over, I've got her up to about 78 over, but in terms of just the general technical stats and wrestling across the board, not great. She also came off a long injury, so I don't know if that's hampered her development as well. But the fact these two had great chemistry is a nice boost, is a nice surprise. And an 80 plays a 67. Not too bad with Tekla being off her game, but yeah, really happy with that one. The problem is, I think the women's division now is so stacked, I could probably make 2 brands just on women. Like, nearly every major women's athlete is in the company. I say Rhea was one that was missing, but yeah, it's one of the shows that's just so fun to book. A 3-hour show, and I have so much talent. And speaking of that, this is the talent that didn't make matches, and there's a lot of women's matches on this card. So this one, we had some good heat and decent wrestling. And again, it was the heels who prevailed. The team of Deonna Purrazzo, Starlight Kid, Kana, Azumi and Becky Knox defeating the team of Davina Rose, Chris Statlander, Mina Shirakawa, Tam Nakano and Sky Blue in 14-22 when Starlight Kid pinned Mina with the Shiranui. This was a storytelling matchup. I had to fire it in some way. But you can see there, Starlight Kid with the star performance, no pun intended there, with 87. Deonna with a solid 77. You obviously make it storytelling, so you lose a few points with that one. I just felt like Becky's too big a name not to have in the card, although the common sense one would have been for Julia Hart to have that role and then have Sky Blue Julia Hart, because that's my feud. But I still feel like it's an all-star cast, and this is athletes that aren't in the women's matches that are upcoming. And overall, 79. Pretty good. And this is why. So this is one of our semi-final matches in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament, and it was about to have superb wrestling and great heat, as Julia defeats Venny in 24-49 with a diving cross body. So my plan in this save is to give everybody on pay-per-view as much time as possible to have a great match, and these ladies have absolutely delivered. 87 for the wrestling, 79 for the crowd, 92 for the segment. Venny's been pushed like hell since coming up to the main roster, and Julia, since she's come in, has a few wins. She's already 80 over this, so we don't need to back her too much. But hey, she's going to be in that Owen Hart Foundation's final coming up next month. And next up, we had a little feud that's been on for a little while, similar to not too long ago in real life, between Mystico and MJF. The luchador has just been getting really annoyed with MJF's tactics, and vice versa, MJF hating the guy in a mask. So they've been at it for a few weeks. He's been beating down luchadors, and Mystico's obviously came to their rescue. Exceptional matchup, and Mystico defeats MJF in 21-31 with La Mystica. 89 wrestling, 89 crowd, 85 for the segment. What about the dirt sheet? What are you seeing in terms of negative things here? MJF and Mystico's physical condition, plus Mystico's low morale. The crazy thing is, across the world, because of the pop cap of MJF at 88, Mystico's more over. I think he's 89. This might push him into 90 over across the board. He's been amazing. Next up was that matchup in the Survival of the Fittest tournament. I just felt like it was two athletes that had good overness, and they're a very tight group. It's those two and I don't have the groups in front of me, but somebody else, but it's like a three-way tie who could win it. And they're all big major matches, so I thought, let's not have that on television, let's put it in pay-per-view. But a good matchup anyway. Tiffy Stratz defeats Natsumi Maki in 17:37 by using the ropes for leverage. A 79 overall. Maki offered game here. I felt like I've not really utilised Tiffy Stratz as well as I could have in this save, but you can't argue with the sex appeal and the star quality stat. So if we can get our in-ring stuff up there, it's an elite talent that we can pretty much use for the remainder of the save. As I say, we've already got many elite talents, but if you can add one more to that, you're not going to complain. Next up was the AEW World Tag Team Championships. So because of this one being at Forbidden Door, it was an opportunity to utilise wrestlers from all three brands, from Dynamite, Collision and Ring of Honor. So we had the champions are obviously on Collision, Midnight Hour are on Collision, Paragon are on Ring of Honor, and the Gates of Agony are on Dynamite. I really need to do something with the Gates of Agony, but I felt like in this instance, Bishop Con was needed to take the pinfall. So this one was decent. DIY defeat the Midnight Hour, Paragon, and the Gates of Agony in 14:17 when Ciampa pinned Bishop Con with a meeting in the middle. Still the show matchup because it was under 15 minutes and it was DIY's first defence of the World Tag Team titles. Unfortunately, Bishop Con was also really off his game, and that's why I struggled to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performances. Amazing that Gargano's now getting 89s. Amazing Austin Creed's bringing 96s. But please bear in mind both of them are boosted because of the tag team specialist situation. Bit gutted though that the excellent chemistry, and Roddy's only getting a 73 and Kyle only a 62. That's worrying. But still, 80 overall, pretty good. Next up was About the Had Superb Wrestling and Great Heat, and it was another match in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament as Io Shirai defeats Toni Storm in 21:49 with the Moonsault Press. This one was given an epic feel, and these two ladies absolutely delivered. Pretty good chemistry between them. Io jumps up to a 95 performance, 87 for the wrestling, and a 93 for Toni. Toni's kind of mixed booking. I always feel like in this, her charisma and her work in the crowd can carry her popularity. She can lose a lot, but then gain her popularity back. Io's problem is she's just too given. She's like, oh, I'll happily put this person over, they've got a bright future, and then somebody else as well, but she is, as well, though, world-class talent. So, yeah, two women's matches in the tournament semi-finals, a 93 and a 92. Incredible. And after this one, obviously you have Julia come out and basically have a stare down with a fallen Io Shirai. No fist throwing or anything, just teasing that matchup. But that is your 2028 Owen Hart Foundation final that will take place at Fight for the Fallen. Io's getting stale, Julia's getting better gimmick, and it was an 81. Next up was that tag match we had teased at the last event, because obviously the beatdown of Megan Bayne, and it was about that had great heat and decent wrestling, and we had Jade Cargill and Mercedes Moné defeat Megan Bayne and Jamie Hayter in 22:05 when Jade pinned Jamie Hayter with the Jaded. Jade was a weak link. This is me finding out that Jade and Mercedes have zero chemistry as partners, so they probably won't team up together. But overall a 78 is not too bad. Impressive performances from Jamie and Megan Bayne. With Jade picking up the victory, the plan is at Fight for the Fallen at least to go Megan Bayne, Jade Cargill. Where to go with Mercedes, I'm not sure, but ever since she signed a new contract and we lost the creative control on her, and she gained a bit of weight, I think it was maybe not weight, muscle, but like her popularity cap is up to like she's in the 90s as well now. It's like it's very hard to like not pivot and just put everything back on Mercedes again. But and she's such a good talent, you want to put her with our wrestlers to help develop their skill sets. But 78, that's pretty good considering you've got two people with zero chemistry. Next up, we have the matchup between the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes and Kevin Steen. So this one was basically the Young Bucks have been continually confused why Cody had aligned himself with Roman, with Jacob Fatu and Drew Galloway. Kevin Steen's just always been a kind of heel in this kind of universe, and it was a case of Cody was like, I'm really getting sick of Nick and Matt trying to question everything I want to do. You've got history with them as well. You're a bit iffy with them. I think we can take them out here. So, but they had some great heat, good wrestling. Cody and Kevin Steen defeat the Bucks in 21:49 when Cody pinned Nicholas Jackson with the Crossroads. Performances okay. Kevin Steen off his game, real off his game, and it was an 82. But it's just with Cody building up momentum, building up popularity again in the save. I think he's like low 80s, but his technical attributes are not particularly great. Or just wrestling attributes. I keep saying technical because I mean the physical art of wrestling rather than actual technical stuff. But there was a reason why this all took place, and I gave it a good 10 minutes. But Kevin Steen and Cody Rhodes just decided to start beating down the Young Bucks. There is a problem that Cody Rhodes has with someone, maybe isn't as much with the Elite and with the Young Bucks, but he has an issue with the man who runs out to make the save and chase off the heels, and that is Hangman Adam Page. So, spoiler alert, the plan is for All In, Hangman versus Cody. 79. We then progressed to the AEW World Championship matchup. I was struggling who to kind of have facing Rush, because he's faced everybody that I felt like I'd want him to be facing on Dynamite. So I thought, let's give Powerhouse Hobbs another good opportunity, but I felt like, let's just make this chaotic. So it was an exceptional wild brawl, and Rush defeats Powerhouse Hobbs in 14:48 with La Lanza, gives him his fourth defence. 81 for Hobbs, 92 for Rush, 87 wrestling. Crowd were into it at 89, but obviously if you're only doing it for 14 minutes, you are capped a little bit at 80. It might have been maybe an 85, but you're going to lose big on the psychology. And I think that's probably a big reason. And Rush came through a weight change. Oh my word, is he going to be even more popular? He's already like mid-90s. But yeah, Rush has been one of my favourite people to book in this save. He's been absolutely exceptional. Next up, so returning after 1 year out is Mayu Iwatani. So basically there's been a few issues with Delta on our Shimmer broadcast. She had a few issues with the authority figure AJ. It's not AJ Lee in this, which AJ Mendez. And AJ Mendez says, get ready for the Forbidden Door because someone's going to come back and face you. And it's a big way because Mayu was doing so well. And then it was one of the tournaments last year. She get the herniated spine. I was like, oh no, are we going to lose her for this save? And she was obviously like carrying the women's division at that point. And now obviously it's going to take her a bit to get built back up. And obviously, if they match to throw her straight into, but obviously after time she'll lose that ring rust. So 81 here. I'm not expecting anything great because Mayu's got to build up. And yep, 78. That's fine. But they had some good heat and decent wrestling. Mayu Iwatani defeats Delta in 1957 with a double foot stomp. 72 wrestling, 77 for the crowd, 78 segment. Mayu only getting a 69. Her popularity is probably just a bit 70 odd, but I take into account, obviously you're going to lose a lot of stuff for the rustiness, and she'll be hampered by physical issues as well. If we can build her up again, we can get her to a much better rating, probably back up to 90s, and I feel like these two would have a bit much a clash in styles as well. So if we go here, you can see there, Rusty, physical condition, and Delta wasn't happy to put her over, but I'm like, it's Mayu Iwatani, put her over. So yeah, happy with that one. I mean, just adding Stephanie Vakura and getting Mayu back, just at this event alone, what a division. Ah, that's a pain. It was about that had superb wrestling and great heat. The surprise fourth man in the tournament was the returning from injury Swerve Strickland. The wild card, because the way I built it is a winner from each brand and then a wild card. I felt like if we had MJF right off Swerve Strickland, he could be the wild card, and it gave me a good chance to go Swerve versus Kyle Fletcher. So he defeats Kyle in 25-35 with a Swerve Stomp. I tried to make it an epic. 94 wrestling, 82 crowd, but a 79 segment. The lack psychology probably cost it massively, as did the failed creative finish, which I think, by the way, was a near certainty. So, if we just look there, yep, lack psychology, creative finish. They did get positives though for, like, well, Kyle Fletcher got good psychology. Well, both get good psychology in an epic, so I think on another day, if the creative finish isn't a failure, you might get away with that. Because some Fletcher matches have been fine, some Swerve matches have been fine when they've been against somebody with lesser psychology. It could just be a bad roll, but if you give them matches, they're only going to get better. And Fletcher still get plenty more time. He's a wee bit younger than Swerve, but both can still develop that attribute. So yeah, Swerve Strickland, one man in the Owen Hart Foundation final. Then a little segment. This has just been a wee stupid wee angle I've been running on Collision. And basically just, I'm using the Miz as a manager, Mike Mizanin Enterprises basically. And he's been trying to not just recruit Okada, he's been trying to recruit Ricky Starks, he's been having them tag a little bit. He's recruited Nick Wayne on Ring of Honor, so he's just flying through the brands. Because his mic skills are obviously unbelievable. I would generally put them at world class. And obviously, he could be somebody that could help carry certain people. And obviously, Okada's got great popularity to start with, so if you can rub that popularity onto Miz, and then you've got Miz's really popular army good charisma, it can only benefit everyone else. And Okada, last night on Collision, suffered like somebody with a tailbone anyway, and I'm like, I'm not risking him to be all in. So, just a wee promo for him saying, you want to see him on a card like this? Well, guess what? No, bitch. So, that was my wee comedy angle to get Okada on the show but not wrestle. And I can't grumble in 89. Next up was the other semi-final of the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament, which also suffered from a lack of psychology, but there you go, that's the difference when it's not put as an epic and the creative finish. I think it's more so to do with the creative finish, to be honest. But About that had superb wrestling, great heat. Gabe Kidd defeats Pac in 25-43, so that's a Dynamite wrestler defeating the Ring of Honor guy with the sick kick, following interference from Clark Connors for the finish. But during the matchup, we also had Andrade El Idolo attack Pac as well, because obviously of their ongoing feud. A 91 for the wrestling, 84 for the crowd, and a 90 rated segment. I know I could actually have the storylines come up and it say X storyline advance, but I just feel that takes up far too much time, and then you have to focus on every storyline every episode. I'd rather just do what I do with I use Google Sheets, and I just label out how I'm going to go each pay-per-view and work it that way. It just works for me, it's a lot quicker. Because I take long enough to book these shows, never mind having to add all the storyline stuff as well. Especially when you see how quickly Legolas plays TW, and you're like, how can you play this game so quick and be so good at it? Shout out to him, his AEW stuff on Discord is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, great stuff, and I don't know if you've realised, the two winners gives us a stare down between two former tag team partners. Gabe Kidd and Swerve obviously both believed they were dangerous, they were both pissed off with AEW, and of course the MGF stuff, Swerve turned face. Gabe Kidd was like, that's cool, it's fine if he wants to go away, it's fine, he's not in my way. Now he's in his way. And we have that set up that two former tag team partners will collide at Fight for the Fallen, and the winner could contend for the AEW World Championship at All In. So 78 for this one. Swerve's getting stale as well, so I'll need to make sure I do these because I'm very bad for leaving gimmicks stale for a long period of time. But yeah, Swerve versus Gabe, Julia versus Io. What a double final, man. Unbelievable. The only negative from my side is I'm going back to world title when previously I was having that tournament for would get a lesser title shot, so I need to be a bit more decisive in what I'm going to do going forward. But I think there's still stuff I'm figuring out because I'm not really happy that the women's Survival of the Fittest tournament is still going on, and I'm going to be in July. So I'll figure something out. Oh my word, this one I am absolutely shocked at. So, Daniel Garcia's been a heel for like a long time. I only turned him, I think it was like the last episode. I felt like I need a new contender for Walter. And I was like, cool, Garcia's not joining Brian's group. Let's turn him babyface and say, I want to prove myself. I want a breakout performance against Walter. And I thought, yep, let's go for it. So I took the risk. I put it as an epic. And they two have absolutely delivered. So About had superb wrestling and great heat. Walter defeats Daniel Garcia in 21:38 with a folding powerbomb. As I say, it was an epic in the eyes of the fans. It's a fourth defence of the Ring of Honor World title for Walter. 87 for the rest, and 80 crowd, 97 segment overall. A 76 from Garcia and 97 from Walter. I've actually had better performances from Garcia, but obviously here you get somebody with a superb technical start, and then Grayson Waller a fantastic brawling start. So yeah, if they both had technical, who knows what could have happened. But creative finish was a success. Garcia and Waller have excellent, great chemistry together. My only worry is that Garcia's pop capped. I'll try and see if I can get him to gain weight or gain muscle or do something. If not, we're going to hope that technical start maybe carries him, because I can't keep him in the mid card. He's got to push on. These younger wrestlers have to start making those progresses, because like the Kennys are already starting to slow down, and eventually they'll be rendered ineffective in this type of product. But yeah, delighted with that. And our main event was about they had superb wrestling and great heat. I didn't know what to expect, so that's how it wasn't like, oh my god, are we going to get 100 here? And I think if we had psychology, we possibly might have. But Will Ospreay defeats Jacob Fatu in 31:08 with a Stormbreaker 93, making his third defence of the AEW Championship. So wrestling was 90, segment of 95, crowd 83, 96 for Ospreay, 84 for Jacob Fatu, and here we used the creative finish as well. So this one was brought up with obviously Roman saying, well, basically sending first Drew Galloway. Ospreay defeated him. Fatu was getting the upper hand on Ospreay, beating him up, and then obviously got his chance at the Forbidden Door, but Ospreay picks up the win. I think Jacob's only like 70 odd over as well, so this hopefully can start bringing him up. But end of the segment, 10 minutes, and we see Roman annihilate Ospreay. The angle idea was a success. Ospreay takes a stunt bump. It's just basically him wrecking him about the place. This is a true invasion. He says the people that are deemed sports entertainers are going to take over this wrestling company. So I may as well just confirm it. It won't be a Fight for the Fallen. Obviously, we are going Will Ospreay, Roman, probably main eventing, All In. So the segment was a 99. So I'm really happy with how I booked Roman recently, because when I brought him in, it was just basically, I never liked him in real life. I don't care about the whole tribal chief stuff, just did not like him for the start, and I've always had that opinion. So I just took his overness onto other people. But now I've really booked him strong as a pretty dominant heel here, and I'm hoping this can benefit. My worry is when these two collide, lack of selling could be a problem, but maybe we can make an epic matchup for All In. Are we actually going to load finish show? Not like claims I haven't hit it, that's why I thought I did. There we go. Yep, we got 100, ideal. I was a bit worried there maybe with the main event matchup, but of course with all the props that we used, the special stage, legendary band, because money's not an option, not an issue, so absolutely delighted to get that one. But yeah, 100 ratings across the board, great to see. 95 match, 97 matchup, 90 in there, 93 for the second women's matchup, 92 for Julia versus Venny. Overall, I'd say it's a very, very good Forbidden Door. And that's with these people not even in programs, which is mental. But if people always wonder, like, how are you getting 100s? This is now like 3 years into the save. Like, this is also my 4th Forbidden Door. And it just takes time. Just takes time to build people up, get people all in momentum, and finding out what works and what doesn't work. Some matches you expect to do better, some matches not so much. I'll finish it there because obviously we're nearly at 30 minutes. I'm not going to drive through the media conference and anything like that, but I'll just say thank you very much for watching. It's much appreciated. A wee thumbs up would be appreciated as well. Check out previous videos. I don't know. Hopefully next week or so we'll get the next video. It might be a bit longer from that until All In, just purely because of the longer period of time to book between them. So it might take me a bit longer to get there, because Forza Horizon's been a great bit of fun. So is Lego Batman, and I'm still dipping in and out of Pokepia as well, so I'm very occupied with games. But yeah, take it easy. See you soon. Thank you.